Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex over at Laser Everything, and today we're learning how to correct for lens warp and lens distortion with Corfile. Corfile is a piece of software built into Ezcad that is supposed to make it simple and fast to fix lens warp and distortion issues that you might be having with your lens. So if you've ever messed with the field warp settings before in your F3 parameter menus, you know how much of a nightmare it can be. This is much faster, and it's not as complicated as it seems when you open up the executable. So we're going to talk about all of that and more. We're getting started right now. Okay guys, so I've got a brand new 175mm lens for my fiber laser, and we need to make some corrections on it. That's what the whole episode is about. So in order to do that, there's a couple things you need to do in order to get set up. The first thing you need to do is you need to create a new Ezcad installation for your new lens. So in this case, I'm doing a folder called Ezcad 175, which will sit up here with my other Ezcad folders. And we also need to make sure that we have our focal distance set. We know what our focal distance is. It helps if you have a focal stick so that we can focus to the material that we're testing on. So if you haven't done both of those things already, go watch the video up here in the corner. It's going to walk you through the entire process for setting up a brand new lens. So go watch that. Get your lens set up. Just skip the part in that video about doing the lens corrections manually, because we are going to be doing them together here using Corfile. So go get your lens set up, then come back to this video. But I'm going to go finish just setting up this folder for the new 175 real quick, and then we'll jump ahead here and get started with the tutorial. Now, not everybody has a giant piece of metal to run their correction file on, and we're going to talk about running the correction file in just a minute, but everybody can order black masking tape. So I've just grabbed a piece of acrylic here that I have laying around, and I've covered it in black masking tape. If you need some, there's a link in the description. We ran one just as a test to make sure this would work before going ahead and telling everybody to do this, but it works great. We got nice clean lines. It's super easy to see. So we're just going to cover that up so we can run a fresh one here. And all you need to do is just rip some strips apart and cover the material that you're marking with black masking tape. We're not marking the material underneath this masking tape, so it doesn't matter what you put the masking tape on. It's just got to be enough to cover it up so that we can get a nice clean white mark with this tape. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll pick up where we left off. Now, as you saw a few minutes ago, we're marking pretty thin lines here, so you want to just make sure that your masking tape is nice and flat so that we don't have any problems actually reading and taking measurements with the lines when we're ready to do that. So once you're masked off, we'll head over to our Ezcad folder, and we'll get started with the next step. So we've got our acrylic set up with our black masking tape. Again, you can use any material for that. It doesn't have to be acrylic. It could be wood. It could be nothing. It could be just right on the aluminum table if you want to do that. We just need to be able to mark something temporary so that we can take some measurements of the markings that it's going to do. So the next step, we're over here on the desktop. We need to navigate to our Ezcad folder. If you have the whole folder on your desktop, it's super easy to do. Just open the folder. If you host the folder on a third-party cloud storage thing like Google Drive, that's what I do. The easiest way to do it is to just open up a folder where you have your Ezcad shortcuts, and you're going to right-click the shortcut for the lens that we want to make a correction for, and we're going to click Open File Location. If you're on Windows 10, it'll look like this. Same thing, Open File Location. And we're just going to go ahead and open that up, and you'll see a file in here called Corfile 2. This is the one we're going to be using. This tutorial is not going to cover the original Corfile. It's not very good, and I don't like it. So Corfile 2 is here. It's an application, so it's an executable. We're going to run it. Okay, so just go ahead and double click on that, and we're going to get a big menu with a lot of options. So as exciting as it is to want to just jump right into this, we have to set a couple things up first. So we're going to do set Laser Param, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that you are actually set to IPG. That's fiber. Okay, that's what they're calling fiber here. So you want to make sure you're set to IPG. This again works for UV or CO2 Galvo as well. So just select the appropriate option if that's something that you need to do. But We're working with the fiber today, so we're going to select IPG. It's going to ask you for a frequency here, so very easy to just go ahead and set something there like 25 kilohertz. And down here, your power analog output, this is your percentage of power that you want to send down to the masking tape. I found 20% power gives you a nice white mark on my 30-watt laser. So that's what we're going to start with today, but you might have to play with that a little bit to get a nice white mark. Lastly, you know, these are just your standard marking speed parameters for timing and things like that. So, you know, if you have to mess with these, you can, but for the most part, I don't think that you need to. I think you can just toss this up as it's going and you're good to go. The very last thing, your test box size right here, you just may need to change the size of the box depending on the lens you're using. So like if I was doing a 50mm lens setup, I might have to take the size on this marking box way down. So if you see that your box isn't being marked completely or losing your corners or something, just go ahead and tone that back a little bit on the size. With all of that done, we can hit OK. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to do the mark 9 points rectangle. This is the very first correction file we need to run. So we're going to hit mark 9 points rectangle, and that looks something like this. Okay guys, now I know this doesn't look like very much fun, but relax, it's gonna be okay. It's not as bad as it looks. First thing I want to point out to you is that we have a couple identifying marks on our little test pattern here. We've got a little square, we've got a line, and we've got a diamond. And if we look on our test pattern here, this is the way it was marked by the laser. We've got a square, we've got a diamond, and we've got our line, okay? Now, this isn't in the correct orientation. So what do we do about that? Well, you can just go ahead and label the diamond 9 up here, and you can label the square number 1, right, and kind of work your way back. But they already thought of this. This is just because you're not getting your F3 param settings. So if you've done any like Galvo inversions or anything like that, they're not being recorded here. So all we have to do is hit the change image button. So we'll just go ahead and hit change image until it matches. We're looking for a diamond in that top left corner. There we go, and we've got our square down here, but our line is across, so that's not great. So let's just keep trying here. And at some point, we're going to find an orientation that matches our setup. So if we put the diamond up here, nope, we've got a line up and down now, but the square is in the right place. Just keep going, guys. You can get it to match. So let's go ahead and try this one. So now we've got the diamond in the bottom right, we've got our line coming across, and we've got our square in the top left. So that's perfect. You'll notice also, I'm doing this on a white sheet of acrylic. That is just because the tape was super reflective, and so you couldn't see the lines that I marked on the tape with the camera. I can see them fine, and you can still use the tape method. It works great when you're not recording it, but I needed to pick something that would show up a little bit better on the recording so you guys could see what I was doing. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is just grab a Sharpie or a pen or whatever, because you're working with masking tape. We're going to use a Sharpie here because it's going to show up nice. And let's just number these, right? Let's just number our points. We've got 1, 2 up here, 3 in the top right, 4, so we're coming down and across, 4. We've got 5 in the middle, 6 on the right, 7 down here in our timing tests there. We've got 8 in the center, and 9 in the bottom right corner. So we've got all 9 points marked, and it matches exactly what's on the screen. So we're in really good shape here to start taking our measurements. And that's where this box over here on the right is going to come in. So what these numbers are asking us to do is we want to find the distance between the box numbered, right? So we've got 1 through 9, 1 through 9. We're trying to find the distance from the corner numbered to the center of whichever axis is being requested here. So the 1x value, okay, that's going to be from this number 1 point, so that's the corner, to number 2, because number 2 is in the center of the axis. So I don't really like looking at it as 1 to 2. I like looking at it as 1 to center. It's just a little easier to kind of keep things straight that way. So from 1 to the center, what distance is that? You'll see it has a bunch of default values in here. We're going to overwrite all of these, so don't worry about whatever this says. It may say 50, it may say 75, depending on what version of the Corfile you're running. We're using Corfile 2. I know it's a little bit different in the Corfile Inu or just the original Corfile. The overall process is generally the same. You may have more boxes than this. If you have, like, let's say there's 2 boxes in order to get to the center, you're still measuring 1 to the center. Then you would measure, here would be 2 to the center. You're after the center, okay? We're not measuring from box to box, so it'll never ask you to measure from 1 to like halfway to 1. Okay, we're always measuring to that center line. Those 2 center lines are very important. That's our target. So, for the number 1 X value, right? We need a caliper. We're going to need a caliper to do this. We're going to go ahead and just put 1 point of our caliper on the 1, and we're going to bring our number 2 all the way out here. We're going to keep this as accurate as possible. These decimal places matter, okay? So we can see it's 74.66. That's exactly what we want to put in our correction field here. So we're going to put 74.66. So that was, again, 1 to the center, okay? Now, the Y value, same thing. We're going from 0.1 to the center of the Y axis. That's going to be number 4 here. Again, if there was another box up here and this was 1, and then down here we had 4, and this was 7, right? It would be 1 to 7 because we're going for the center, not the neighbor, the center. In this case, though, 4 is the center. So we're going to measure from 0.1 to the center, and that'll give us our Y value for point number 1. So let's grab the first point here at 1, and then we'll bring our second down to 4. And as accurately as possible, we can see that that is 78.53. Okay, so here we go, 78.53, and we're done. Next up is number 2. And you'll see number 2, the first box is 0, and that's going to stay 0 because we would be measuring from 2 to center, right? And 2 is in the center, so that's going to be a value of 0. So with that out of the way, we can move right on to Y. And again, we're doing 0.2 here, so it's going to be from 0.2 to the center of the Y-axis. So it's going to be 2 to 5. So we'll go ahead and pull this up here. And let's just get that right in there, 76.33. So we'll go ahead and mark 76.33. No problem. Next up, we've got the number 3 point. So number 3 is up here in the top right corner, and it's going to be from 3 to the center. Again, here it's number 2. So 3 to 2 is 74.85. 74.85. Okay, and then we're going to get the Y value for point number 3, and we're just going to continue this way all the way down to number 9. So here we've got 3 for Y, and it seems a little bit inaccurate there, so let's just get that fixed up. 77 point, I think just a little further, I think 78 even right there on that one, so we'll do 78 even on the next box. Here we go. 0.3 Y value, 78 even. Number 4, okay? Number 4, we need an X value. So we're going to start over here on the left at number 4 and come to the center. And this is going to be 77.13. Looks pretty good to me. So let's make that happen. 77.13. And here, this is where you get tripped up, okay? See, the Y value for 4 is 0, and again, it'd be because we were coming from 0.4 to the center, and 4 is the center, so we'd be measuring this distance, which is going to end up being 0, right? So we'll go ahead and leave that at 0. 5 is center, so that's already the center of both of those things, so that's going to be 0, 0, which is why we cannot edit them. They will always be 0, 0. Number 6 here, so it's going to be 6 on the X first, so 6 to 5. So let's get a measurement there. 6 to 5 is 77.75. And then same thing here on the Y, it would be 6 to 6, right? So 6 to 6 is going to be 0, so we can skip that. Number 7 here, we're just going to go all the way through this, guys. You can skip ahead if you understand the concept and you don't want to continue watching this, just jump a minute ahead. But we're going to be done in just a second here. So number 7, point number 7, okay, on the X first. So it's going to be 7 to 8, because 8's in the center here. That's going to be 74.35. 74.35. And then on the Y, it's going to be 7 to 4, because 4 is in the center here. So let's go 4 to is about 79.04, so that one's way off. 79.04, great. 8, of course, is on the x-axis, so that's going to be 8 to 8, which is 0, right? And then the y-axis, it's 5, which is in the center, so it's going to be 8 to 5. So let's get 5 and 8 right about there, 77.13. So let's set that, 77.13. And last but not least, we've got the 9, point number 9. So we're doing 9 to 8 here. So let's just, again, as accurately as possible, 9 to 8 is 74.94. So let's go ahead and grab our X value here and type in 74.94. And finally, Y for point number 9, and that's going to be 9 to 6, okay? So we'll just go ahead and get 1 point down at 9 and 1 point down at 6, and that's 78.68. So that's our final value, 78.68. And with this done, we can hit OK, and it brings us back to our main core file here. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is this F8, calibrate standard rectangle. What this is going to do is it's actually going to make a bunch of boxes on your sheet, or whatever material you're using as your testing material, and each one is in increments of 10 millimeters. So the first box will be 10 millimeters, the second will be 20, the third will be 30, so on and so forth, all the way out to like 180 millimeters. We're actually going to take the caliper and we're going to measure each of those boxes to make sure that our correction file is accurate. So I'm going to grab this sheet right here, and we're going to go ahead and throw this into the fiber laser bed there so that we can mark our squares, and then we'll do just a couple quick measurements just to make sure things are accurate. So let's go do that. Here we go. Okay guys, so here it is. This is our kind of test grid here to make sure that things are proportionate and sized correctly. So we're just going to grab our caliper again, and we're just going to start measuring boxes. This one should be 10 wide. So let's get this in here really quick. And we can see right about 10 right there. I mean, obviously there's a little play, right, and movement. I'm not using some kind of magnification device to make sure it's spot on, but it's very, very close. So there's 10 wide. And let's make sure that our height is good. 10 tall as well, very, very, very close. And then we can go ahead and skip a few. So let's just test the next box out. Let's see here. This one's going to be 40, and we're right there at 40, so that looks great. And let's turn it and try it again. And it looks like we are right on the money there at 40 millimeters. So you want to just test as many of these as you possibly can. You probably don't have to do every single one, but you do want to look for inconsistencies, especially as you start to get further out. Here is 100, so this should be 100 millimeters. It's kind of hard to make sure that we're perfectly on it here, but we'll use this center line as a guide. About 100 right there. Guess I'm kind of moving it a little bit. Yep, that looks like 100. So once you take a few of these measurements, you should be in pretty good shape. If you're not, redo your core file, right? Remeasure, double check your corrections, and then run this test square again. But we seem to be in really good shape. I also just want to point out, don't worry about it not lining up with our test grid, right? Our test grid was all warped, and when I threw this back in the fiber to mark the squares here, I didn't make sure that it was straight with the existing test grid, so that's why some of these lines kind of jut off at an angle. That's not what we're worried about. What we're worried about is the left to right, top to bottom, how big are these boxes, making sure that everything is square. This checks out, so I'm ready to move on to the next step, actually getting our core file into Ezcad. Let's check out how to do that. We're almost done, guys. We're in the home stretch. We've just got to get our core file into Ezcad. It's very easy to do. This will only take a second. So the last thing that we need to do in this menu is just go ahead and save our correct file, right? By default, it will save to your documents folder. It doesn't really matter where you save it. We'll just save it in the documents folder for now. We'll call it the 175F for final. and hit save. And we're just going to come to our documents folder here and open in a new window. We're going to grab our core file out and we're going to paste it into our Ezcad folder. I've already got mine in there, so I'm just going to replace the one that I did earlier today. There it is, 175.core. And we can close that, and we can close this, and we're going to come into our fiber folder here and start our 175mm copy of Ezcad. So this is going to load up here in just 1 second. We'll import the file, and we're going to be done. It's going to be really quick. So all we need to do once we're in here is we're going to hit F3 Param. We want to make sure this box is checked. Use the correction file, right? So make sure that's checked. Click the little arrows here to open Windows Explorer. If this doesn't open to your Ezcad folder, open to your Ezcad folder. And just scroll down until you find your core file. There it is, 175f.core. And we'll hit open. And that's it. You'll see it grays out all of these values because it's making the corrections for us based on the file. So it eliminates all of the guess and checking that you would have to do, and all of the human error that comes along with that guess and checking. Let the computer do the calculations, save yourself a ton of time, run a core file, and you're done. We already know everything is square and sized appropriately because we just tested it. It fixes all of our scaling issues. It fixes all of our bowing and warping issues. It's really an awesome thing. I should have made this video a long time ago. So that's it. You're ready to start using your new laser. Again, if you have questions about how to actually set up a new lens for your laser, we've got a whole video on that. It's linked in the description. There was a card earlier in the video. So go check that out if you need it. And that's everything, guys. That's all you need to know in order to get this done. Again, there's Core File 1 and Core Inu. They operate on the same principle. You're just measuring the distance from any given point to the center of the X or Y axis. Very straightforward and easy to do. So I really hope this video helped you. I should have made it a long time ago, as I just said. It's a vital piece of getting things done, and it saves you a ton of time. I have like 6 new lenses over there. I need to go get them all set up right now. So I'm gonna actually do this like 5 more times for 5 other lenses. I just wanted to take this opportunity to share this with you. If you got value out of this video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified the next time I upload a video. If you love this video and it's the best thing that ever happened to you, don't forget to check out the Laser Master Academy. It's our awesome community that we've set up so that you guys can help support the channel, and I try to give as much back as possible. You get instant access to my entire fiber laser and CO2 laser parameter libraries. You get bonus episodes of the Laser Source podcast. We do weekly live streams, so you've got those to look forward to that are exclusive just to the LMA members, and access to an awesome community full of people that are paying to be there, right? These are the guys that are really serious about getting stuff done. We're all there to help you, so go check that out and support the channel in the process because it makes a big difference and it allows me to continue making these videos for you. If you can't support the channel right now, don't worry, we still got a community for you, and that would be our Discord server. It's got well over 1,000 members. There's a ton of people in there and just so much good information and inspiration. Everybody's really friendly and they can't wait to meet you, so there's a link to that in the description as well. And also we've got a link to the black masking tapes. If you can't find that for some reason, there's an Amazon affiliate link down in the description for that. But that's it, guys. That's all I've got for today. I'm not going to say I'll see you in the next one. I'm kind of tired of that. I want to mix it up. So I'm going to leave you with something that I sincerely mean every time that I'm going to say it from now on. Good luck and have fun. Thanks for watching, guys.